everybody, good morning. Frank Holder here with you. This is the show called The Box Seats. I'm here with the comedians known as Talent and comedians known as Fig. This is what we do every day, sports comedy talk show. I'm with comedians who've been in the comedy game for a long time, from comedy films, film festivals, commercials, all that, and then I've been in the game for over 30 plus years. These guys they know what they're talking about when it comes to comedy. Now we are about to do something where we invite people to talk to us about comedy and stuff like that. But guess what? We're talking about sports now. So,
and let me tell you something, Frank. Contrary to Rodney Perry, we know what we talk about when we talk about sports too.
How you guys doing today?
I'm good. I was about to say the same thing, Fig. I was about to say he set it up like we don't know sport. They know everything about that, but this. I was about to say the same thing. Contrary to Mr. I disagree.
Yeah,
the only person on this show that I probably give an edge up to, when Stack checked the facts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Stack was an intern. He lived with some of these players.
I would tell him you said that. Anyway, let's get the show started like I always do every day. I always jump into the COVID report. The COVID report today is really sad, man. I was watching it, and I haven't seen this report anywhere. I was watching the Brian Gumbel's HBO thing that he does. You know what I mean? The Inside Sports he does. And I'm not sure if you all remember, but in 2019, WNBA star Aisha Dur was the number 2 overall pick. She is about to retire at the age of 23. She's the number 2nd overall pick in 2019. She lost 32 pounds and she got drafted by the New York Liberty due to COVID. So COVID has ravaged her body so bad. At the age of 23, she's now decided that she's going to call it a career. And Brian Gumbel did this really touching, moving report on her, everything else. And this is one of the stories and things like that go under the water and nobody's talking about. So I wanted to say, I want to throw it out there. You guys can comment if you want to, is that, people are so pressed to make money with this thing and people seem to be not paying attention to the COVID stuff that's going on. That's why I feel the need always to do a COVID report. What's your thoughts, Talent?
I mean, we all agree on that. We all felt this way. When we started doing this show, we felt this way. We were criticizing everything from college to the pros of we couldn't understand how people would put the dollar before health. You know what I mean? Because my thing is this, man. Everybody was screaming economy and this got to happen and money. What good is money and economy if you're not here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you can't do the simple thing like live a life, none of that other stuff matters to me. And unfortunately, the people at the top of the food chain who makes these big money decisions, I don't know. It's almost like they really believe that their financially makes them physically untouchable. So the hell with it. And you know how it is. They're playing chess and checkers with pieces. They're sitting up here, probably in their own personal bubble, saying, throw them out there. Let's play.
Yo, what's really, 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 really sad about this is how long, Fig, she was trying to get to the WNBA? You know what I mean? Like, she's probably been playing since she was 8 or 9, and she was probably trying to bust her behind to get to the WNBA. It's probably her lifelong dream. She's still literally, number one, she's a kid. She's only 23. And number two, her career is over literally after 18 months. Not even 18 full good months. You know what I mean? That's the travesty. What's your thoughts, Fig?
It's when you talk about a professional athlete, those that make it to play professional sports, I would say in most cases, a lot of them have been playing their entire life and practicing, playing, and avoiding a lot of social activities that other people do because they're training, resting, eating right, and preparing to get to that point, and to lose it all over a pandemic just seems, horribly tragic, even though she's still alive. Like you said, 23 years old, she's still a kid. And it seems horribly tragic that she would lose it. I was listening to Talent Show this morning and he gave a number that was staggering. And then the example that he gave was even, it just was eye-opening. He was like, we lost over 400,000 people dead. And then he gave the example that a stadium or an arena might hold 40,000 people in an arena at one time. And then when you see it, you say, oh my God, the place is packed. And then you take that and you have to multiply it by over 10 to get to 400,000 people. That's staggering. And some people act like this thing, like it doesn't exist.
Right. Now, I want to keep the show moving because we could talk about that part for a whole hour all by itself. But let me just jump into, since we talk about the WNBA, Candace Parker made a lot of news last night because Candace Parker, she signed with her her hometown, Chicago Sky, because after she did 13 seasons with the LA Sparks. First of all, I want to shout out Candace Parker. She's one of the best players in the WNBA. But for her to make that seismic shift and everything else like that to playing in Chicago, I don't know if something was wrong. I don't know if it was a money issue. I don't know if it's just one of those things where she decided she wanted to play in Chicago because she's from Chicago. I don't know. Right. I really don't know what her thought process is, but to me, she is the biggest star in the WNBA right now. For her to sign with Chicago is pretty huge. What's your thought process, Town?
Oh, I mean, no question. But I think this, Frank, as a guy who played sports, whether you go professionalize another thing, but if you're blessed enough to go and take your sports, something that we do for fun, to the next level and do it as a profession, I think everybody has a dream of playing for their hometown. It's almost like when you do play at a lower level, high school, junior high, even college, whatever, it's something about home and wanting to produce at a high level for your home team. That's like family. So God bless her, to be able to put yourself in a position to go and navigate that, because a lot of people never get a chance to do that.
Yeah, that's very, 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 very true. Fig, your thoughts?
I think it's amazing. I like you said, I wonder what actually happened that made her want to leave. Los Angeles. She's been there for so long. And like you said, she's a big star. She's cute too. She's a big star that's cute.
Oh
yeah, Candace Parker is cute. I mean, listen, I still got eyes. But like Talent said, to want to go to your hometown, I guess that's big. You know what I mean? To play for the friends and family that you grew up with, and possibly some of the people that you grew up playing with, when you was a kid in the park, like Talent said, you grow up playing in the park and in the local rec center, the gym and stuff like that. And then you get back to go to that hometown, and some of those people are able to see you play at the next level. That's got to be big.
Yeah. In other news, let's continue on and keep this thing moving on. One of the dumbest things I've heard in a while, Mr. Chad Wheeler from Seattle Seahawks, he officially got cut yesterday. He was a restricted free agent. He was not an unrestricted free agent. He was a restricted free agent. He got into an issue with his girl. I could give you all the listing of all the charges and stuff, but when I saw the pictures of what he did with his girl, especially the way he beat her up and hit her in her face and everything else, and then locked her in the bathroom, and well, she locked herself in the bathroom, and he broke into his own bathroom and everything else. This domestic violence thing, man, I just wanted to touch on it real briefly before we go on to the other big story today. I mean, when you talk about somebody who literally is an unknown name and then to physically put harm to his girlfriend, everything else, and put his career in jeopardy, isn't that like not one of the dumbest things you could do, Talent, or what? Like, I don't know, man. I can go on and on about this.
Well, absolutely. I mean, here's the thing. I think that we talked about the obligation that these leagues have with these players. They have another obligation I think they've been neglecting for decades. And I think that obligation has to do with the person who you are. Forget the player. I think sometimes they say, okay, this person is a problem child or a mental case, but he's very big or very strong or very good at his position. And they will spend money to cover that up, so to speak. This didn't come from nowhere. I seen those pictures. I think the charges need to be escalated or elevated from what it was Saturday when this happened. A suspicion of battery or whatever. Like, this is attempted murder.
Yeah,
you thought what's missing on this thing is he thought he killed her, sat there to continue eating breakfast.
Yeah.
And she came through and he's like, oh, you still alive. Like, this is a mental place that you are in. And somebody up and down that totem pole that deals with this player, whether it be an assistant coach, a director, a head coach, or ownership. Somebody knows. Mm-hmm. And you got to stop this. You know, we're here in New York, and one of our big stars was Dave Meggett, for the Giants. And come to find out, when Meggett's in jail, rape, but he had several rapes. He's been raping since junior high, all the way through his pro career. And they've been covering it and covering it. And it wasn't until his retirement days, when obviously they're not vested in him no more, that this all comes out.
Yep. I can't even disagree. I can't disagree with you more. It's not even just him. Fig, first of all, Fig, let me just throw this out there. First of all, he sat there. He should be Chad Wheeler should be charged with attempted murder. It brings the NFL is probably not going to have anything to do with him anymore, because we all remember the video when that girl got knocked out in the elevator. You know what I mean? Like you cannot continue to hit women in domestic violence and think you're going to be part of the NFL. And I know we could talk about this forever, but we want to move the show on. But anyway, I want you to talk about this Chad Wheeler situation real first.
Well, forget about the NFL, part of society, period.
Yes,
you know exactly. What I mean? The thing that saddens me is that when the player or the assailant seems to be Caucasian, they look for the cause. Oh, it's a mental health issue. He should have been taking his medication and stuff like that. But when the player has brown skin, then he's a predator, he's an animal, and all this stuff like that. No. This man he was off his medication and tried to kill this woman. I mean, those are the facts of the case, but let's not go to the reason why. You know what I mean? If we're gonna do that with him, let's do it with everybody. You know what I mean? Right. Let's do that with everybody. Let's not just go to the mental health issue. But clearly it was. He didn't take his medication and he tried to kill his fiance, wife, whatever she was to him. That's sad. But you can't just remove them from their job. You have to remove them out of society, because if he did it to her, then he definitely would do it to somebody else.
Now, you all both know we could talk about this forever, but we got to talk about the next big topic, because I mean, we could talk about domestic violence on stuff at least for an hour all by itself. We don't want to do that, but I gotta keep the show moving on, because Houston, we have a problem. Like, I mean, there is a big problem in Houston. Last night, the news broke out that David Culley, a 65-year-old head coach, came from Baltimore. He got hired officially to basically head up the Houston Texans. Literally 12 hours later, an official request, which they said was just filed weeks ago, but I don't even know if that's true or not. But not even 12 hours later, news breaks up this morning that DeShaun Watson is officially requesting a trade out of Houston. And the problem seemed to run really, really, really deep in Houston, because J.J. Watt has expressed some issues. He went over and apologized to DeShaun Watson, wasting over a career and all that. And I'm going to say this for the record. Wherever DeShaun Watson goes, I'm sure he will be extremely happy to get out of there. And I'm going to throw it to my man, Ray, to see what his thoughts are. My man, Mr. Daniel Dugar, because Daniel Dugar is in the building right now. Comedian Daniel Dugar, specialist, everything else. I want to see Daniel. How you doing, brother? How's everything, bro?
Hey, man, I'm well. I'm recovering. How you doing, Frank? How you doing, Fig? How you doing, Talent?
What's up, brother?
We know you recovering from the sickness, man. So I want to ask you before I ask Talent and Fig, what's your thoughts about this? Because, you're on the West Coast, bro. What's your thoughts about this?
Something's going on in Houston, man. Everybody wants out.
Yeah.
And that state, I mean, even in sports, it's still a red state. Mm-hmm. And they think differently than we think. And it starts from the top all the way down to the bottom. So you have a lot of people that feel a certain way, and it's displayed in the organization, man. I wouldn't want any parts of Texas. I'll just put it to you like that. And something's really happening there. For Harden to want to be out of there, for DeShaun to want to be out of there, something's not right. It's almost like it's a sports modern day slave plantation in that state.
Wow. That's some really big, powerful words. I got to even throw it up to my man Talent, because Talent, I know you got to say something about this too, man. I know you got some thoughts you want to say about this.
Well, that makes all the sense in the world. Because let's just think. If you really think, we haven't been hearing about these problems pre-election.
Mm-hmm.
These things have festered and bubbled all the way up to their height right around this time when we have this division in the country. And like you just said, you brought up something very important. You know, don't get caught up in the entertainment and the sport. It's still a red state.
Right.
So given all that, and these players of color especially, who are now exercising their right, but they are colored people, they're people of color. So what's happening is, are we seeing a split in the division on and off the court, on and off the field? Are the fans or the powers that be looking at these guys because their views and what they may feel and say, you know what, you're part of the radical left.
Mm-hmm.
You're part of, you know, when I look at DeShaun Watson, am I seeing Nancy Pelosi, or am I seeing DeShaun?
Right.
So he's touching on something that has some very great amount of validity to it. So I agree with what he said. I think it's something there.
I agree with Daniel Dugard, also comedian Daniel Dugard. Fig, what you think, man? What's your thoughts on that?
Man, I have my feelings about Texas. It's questionable because of the reputation that Texas has. I think a couple years ago it came out that Texas wanted to succeed from the union. You know what I mean? They didn't want to be a part of the United States anymore. They wanted to be their own entity and do things, you know, how they wanted to. And then the reputation of people said about Texas, you know, you go there on vacation and come back on probation. Yeah. So, you know, it makes you wonder, like, okay, what's really going on in Texas? And they got rid of DeAndre Hopkins. Then you hear this thing, you know, about DeShaun Watson, and it just, you know, it's a lot of red flags that come up, and it makes you wonder what's really going on with this organization. And you know, it just gives you pause.
Right. Daniel, I'm gonna ask you this big question. Here's a serious question. Fig, myself, and Talon, we've been talking a couple of days about players who have power, you know, in the NFL versus the NBA. I don't know if you saw a couple of past episodes. That's what we've been talking about. But Houston, literally right now, Houston Texans has him under contract. They do not have to trade him. They can literally keep him. If you are Houston Texans right now, even though he requested a trade, what you going to do? Because what he could do, literally, he could show up and not even show up to play. You know what I mean? He could revolt against the team. You know what I mean? He could do that. But if you're Houston, what do you think is going to happen? What's your thoughts?
I mean, it's like, excuse me, guys. That's all up to the organization. You know, the organization can preach character, integrity, but if your house is not practicing that, and your star player, which will have a domino effect with the other players in the organization, are feeling some kind of way about how it's being ran, how they're being treated, because only we know what's happening on the surface from what they report. We not in the practice facility. We don't know what's happening behind closed doors. We don't know the verbiage or the dialogue. They could hold him and go to what you were saying in regards to, you know, this radical left, because when you don't conform to how the powers that be, white people, want you to be, you're labeled. Right. When you're labeled, that is going to affect your brand, which is your livelihood. So they'll try to demonize you any kind of way that they can to have the control to try to keep you to stay or to keep you to conform when they are not practicing those very laws or of the organization or those rules and guidelines. I would say try to force a trade and just get out of there, man, because if you're playing under stress, you're not going to be at your best anyway. So, hey, the athletes are products, right? Technically. Try to get something for the brother. Let the brother go somewhere where he's going to have a peace of mind so he can perform to his highest level. And everybody just go their separate ways, man. But they don't think like that. Right.
I absolutely agree with that. Talon, I'm gonna throw this to you, man. Does the leverage fall to DeShaun right now? Because DeShaun literally is under contract, or do you agree with Daniel Dugard? Because everything Daniel Dugard just said, comedian Daniel Dugard extraordinaire, everything he just said is true. There's nothing he said that's out of line. You know what I mean?
Right. But I think the answer to your question is yes, he has the leverage. But predominantly because he's a star player. And this part B of that is no one likes to waste money. So if I have $50 million left on your contract, I would hate to have to keep you or be unhappy, non-productive, or bench you and just wasting those checks that add up to $50 million, or get something for it. The bigger question at play here, though, is everybody got to think about is this. If what we suspect is really going on, and it's because it's a red state, what does that say for all the teams in red states? If they start to, if the politics of these things start to trickle into the sport, because everybody can leave.
Yeah, that's very true.
Everybody don't have the luxury of Watson. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's the bigger question.
That's very, very, very true. Fig, DeShaun Watson just signed an extension last year. That's number one. Number two, and probably the biggest thing is he has leverage, I think, like along with Talon said and Daniel just said, is because of the simple fact being there's 25 other teams right now that would take him hands down. At least 25 other teams.
Easy.
At least 25 other teams right now. So the question to you is do you agree with Daniel? Do you agree with Talon? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, actually, I agree with both of them. But to the just to add on a little bit is the fact that the organization actually does have the legal power to hold on to him because they have him under contract. But I don't think it would look good on the organization to hold on to a player that really wants to leave. He's been there. He's been loyal to the organization, and they made some moves that was I don't know, less than what you would consider to be smart as an organization, getting rid of one of the best receivers in the NFL, probably arguably top three, in DeAndre Hopkins. And you like, oh man, why would they do that? And you would think that this organization probably could have been one of the teams in the Super Bowl if you had a player of his caliber. Then you have J.J. Watt sort of co-signing, what DeShaun Watson was saying about why he wanted to get out. He said, listen, we wasted your whole year and your talent, you know what I mean, this year because we didn't give you the pieces that you need in order for us to be able to win. And, last but not least, the organization back in the day had a lot of power because they could paint the narrative, they could paint the picture. But in the era of social media and these players having their own followers and being able to get their own word out with these different platforms and podcasts and what have you, he has a way to sort of fight the machine, if you will, and give his own version of what's happening.
Yeah. All right, let me switch gears a little bit because joining the show today is comedian, producer, writer, director. This dude does it all. Daniel Dugar's in the building. He's also a huge NBA fan. So we could talk about DeShaun Watson for at least a whole hour because of the way that situation boiled up. But I'm gonna throw some of these questions out to Daniel and just switch gears up and talk about some stuff that jumped off in the NBA. Like last night, the best in the East faced the best in the West. You know what I mean? I don't know if you watched the game between the Lakers and the Sixers, Daniel. I'm going to just throw it out there. I did. I admit, I thought it was a really pretty good game. But I'm going to throw this out there because something happened at the end of the game, and LeBron pushed off with Joel Imbiid and everything else, and Joel Imbiid came out last night and said something that was pretty big. He said if it had been him and he had did that, he would have got ejected from the game. Now, look, just quickly out there, if you don't know, the Lakers lost. That was their first road loss in like 11 tries and everything else. But do you agree with Joel Imbiid? I'm going to throw it out there. Do you agree? If Joel Imbiid had did that, would he have been ejected out of the game last night? Because I
don't know, but let's clearly note that LeBron has lost to two Currys. I don't know if he would have been ejected, man. That's just hearsay. Joel talks a lot. I don't know. I can't really say that brother would have been ejected or not. I believe there is a double standard because, I do have a cousin who is an NBA official 20 years in, and I used to work for the Golden State Warriors. So I kind of seen a lot of this stuff up close and personal. There are double standards, but Joel is also a superstar just like Bron. So I can't say he would have been ejected. No, I don't agree with that.
All right. The funny thing is I know how you feel about Lakers. I know how you feel about Golden State, Daniel. I know how you feel about certain things.
But I'm a realist. I'm a realist. A lot of
Listen.
my boys I played ball with went to the NBA. Jason Kidd, Gary, Antonio, Brian Shaw, all those cats. But my thing is, I'm fair. Even with Golden State messing up, I clown them too. I'm a realist.
And
hold on. You're a realist, Daniel. You're a realist.
Yeah.
Who's the GOAT?
Who's the GOAT of all time? All time GOAT? Kareem.
Okay, he's a realist.
Yeah. I can't argue with that one.
Yeah, Kareem. I'm gonna ask you this, Daniel, since we had this conversation the other day. Literally, I don't know if you're watching the show.
I do watch.
Why is not Kobe compared more to Jordan, and why do people skip over the Kobe Jordan comparison? Why do they always go straight to comparing LeBron to Michael Jordan? Why does that always happen?
It's a generational pull, man. Kobe played a little bit with and against Jordan. A lot of this new generation really haven't seen what Jordan really did. And then again, with Kobe, Kobe was their guy who they idolized, and so was LeBron. But Kobe modeled his game after Jordan. So when they put them on that totem pole, it should be Kareem, Jordan, Kobe, then LeBron. Because I believe Kobe in his prime would have his way with LeBron, and we all know Jordan would have his way with him. So it's a generational thing, man. And you can't keep bouncing to different teams, aligning yourself with other superstars to win championships. Me personally, I don't look at LeBron as a true Laker. I don't look at Kevin Durant as a true Warrior. They're hired guns. They're snipers. They did what they did. They got their rings, and they keep it going. But LeBron will always be, to me, a Cleveland Cavalier.
You know what, y'all? Talent, Fig. We got a realist, an NBA realist on right here, and this brother is speaking truth to. Man, I gotta get you more on the show, man, because sometimes
finally.
Facts.
Yeah.
I gotta get you Rodney Perry's address.
Oh no, hey, you know what? Rodney's my guy, because Rodney started comedy in Oakland with us 20 years ago and some change. So I listen. I watch you guys. I've been fans of you brothers, man, for a long time. You guys all have special gifts, and I watch the show, man. So I pay attention. You guys are very insightful, all of you.
Man, I appreciate your insight, man. I really do, man. When you said Kareem, I couldn't argue with that, man. You can't argue with him, man. You can't argue with Kareem. You know what I mean? And everything that you said about LeBron James, spot on, man. Absolutely spot on. I do sort of wonder about what Joel Imbiid said. If you just think about, had LeBron James been in the air, you know what I mean, off his feet in the air, about to, take a shot, and Joel Imbiid would have pushed him and he fell on his back like that, I can't say that he wouldn't have been ejected. I mean, it's very possible. Nobody can say for sure, but it's very possible, because LeBron James still, at this day, is still the face of the league.
You might have gotten flagrant too. I agree
with that. But Daniel, man, I know you're sick, and I thank you for joining the show, man. I know you're just recovering. What else you got going on? Tell everybody.
I'm getting better. It's really, I've been on quarantine, man. Tomorrow, I got my day. I'm off Saturday. I'm off of quarantine on Saturday. It's just really weird being in the back room, in the bedroom, and my wife slides the food to me in the hallway, knock on the door, and I grab it like I'm on lockdown in the hole, and shoot it back to her. But it's crazy, man. I'm thankful that she tested negative. Mm-hmm. I'm feeling much better, man. As you guys know, I have the biggest comedy tours, military tours on the planet. A brother, and I pay the most. For
that's the big part there, right there.
The last 13, 14 years. So we've been shut down already a year.
Right.
We probably won't boot up until 2022, January, around this time. But we're hoping maybe the fall, depending on the vaccine and what the military says about that, how they feel about that. and Talented Fig. I would love to have you guys come and get down. Also, man, I'm just going on the first, man. Honestly, man, I'm gonna watch you guys show, but I'm getting off of social media for a little bit, man. I'm gonna get my body right, get my mind right, get back into my projects that I've been working on, my writing. Take the app off my phone, but keep my ear to social media by going on my laptop every blue moon and rewrite and resurrect this new birth of comedy. I mean, we're all veterans, man. Game has changed. And as we know, man, you can always reinvent. You just got to put the work in and do what you have to do, because social media has changed the comedy game. You know, some of us OGs can be bitter or feel a certain kind of way in regards to the new movement. We can't be mad because that is called progress. How do we initiate and put ourselves in a situation to enhance everybody's economy with comedy, man? Like, I look at you brothers in New York, man. Y'all could get down for 2-3 weeks and don't have to leave the city. How amazing is that? And have act out show. I did my television debut in New York, man, at Apollo Theater. And I said to myself, man, if I didn't live on the West Coast, it would be on the East Coast, because you guys just have a different energy and mindset about the approach and just being honest about the comedy. Some people go for the funny, but you guys go for the reality and what's relevant and what's really happening today and now instead of the shock value. So I'm gonna go dark for a little bit, man, and really get myself together, get my body back right in my spirit. And I thank you guys so much for having me on the show. I really do.
Well, feel better, man. Feel better.
Thank you for doing the show, brother. I really appreciate you. I want to come on the tour too, man. Just to you know, obviously record.
Honest, man. Hey, man, I'm gonna tell you, the tour is fun. Ask Rodney. Ask Gary, ask JJ. I take care of you.
Hey, Daniel, listen, man. Let me give you a shout out. Daniel Green is a friend of mine.
Oh, that's my dude.
He brought up your name so much all the time. I felt like I was like, yo, I know this dude. Because, I mean, Daniel Green talk about you all the time, man. And when I saw that you were sick, man, I was like, you know, prayers up, man. Thank God that you're getting well. Because we know how serious this COVID thing is, man. And
from 234 to 202 is my weight.
Now you know
234 to 202.
Now you know Dan Green is original Philly cat, right?
Absolutely.
And you know, that's my dude. He's the only comedian that goes to the dentist to donate teeth. You know, that man got a lot of teeth. That's my dude.
Thank you for taking the time to do with the show, man. We appreciate you, man. I appreciate you, man. And I'll be in contact with you, man. Take care of yourself, man.
Be well, brothers. Be well,
man. Take care, brother. All right, y'all. That was Daniel Dugar, comedian extraordinaire, writer, producer. This brother, he does it. He does a lot of things, man. I met him years ago. And when he told me about the thing that he was doing in the military, I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know, a comic was behind the scenes producing something like that on that magazine. And then when I did a little digging like that, I was like, wow, that brother. First of all, bro, I liked him anyway because he's a sharp dresser. I was like, this brother right here. I was like, God, what? His shoes for days. You know how some old cats come in? He put all them dudes to shame. I wanted to take pictures of the shoes just to send them to my uncles and be like, man, y'all sleeping on my man. Look at these shoes. My man is sharp. But also, man, Daniel, he put together a lot of comedy shows out in the military, and nobody knows. You know what I mean? Like that was like almost a shame that it literally, some people do stuff behind the comedy scene and it floats completely under the scene. That's that dude. You know what I mean? Like
some people like it like that, bro. Some people like it. It's like when you give back. I don't want the publicity. If I'm going to do something from the heart or do something good, I don't need the press clippings. The press clippings means that I'm doing it for a different reason. Like, that Make-A-Wish Foundation where the camera follows you. Oh, look what he's doing with the kid in the hospital bed. Why do you need a camera? If you do good, the big camera that matters is God. That's all that matters.
Talent, I'll tell you this. You're absolutely right. He don't need it either, but it still should be known. it still should be on a black man such as his stature is not only putting his comedy, a career in front, but he's also trying to take care of other people out there. Because we all know there are a whole lot of comedians who would not do that at all. They wouldn't even bat an eye.
You know what it does, Frank? It's like a two-edged sword. He's doing good. You know what I mean, for a lot of the comedy industry, but it also allows you to be able to go to the movies and the dinner with your family without being bombarded.
Yeah.
And some people don't want it. Some people just don't want it.
Yeah, and he's blessing a lot of people with that way too. He's listen. I go on and on about that brother, and me and him have had some spirited debates in sports. So that's why I said, let me surprise you two and invite him in and see if he would say something, because we could literally go on and on. But this DeShaun Watson story dropped in, and that spoiled my whole thing. I was gonna do the LeBron Jordan and a whole sports debate and coach versus player. I had all that planned when I was gonna surprise y'all, but DeShaun Watson messed up my whole show today, talking about all of a sudden he won I
went out. That's what he said. Let me out of here.
Yeah, that changed the whole dynamic of the thing. But anyway, let me bring in my man, Mr. Rodney Perry, because Rodney Perry, he always got to agree or disagree.
Hey, I told you, man, all you gotta do is don't mention LeBron. They'll love you. Yeah. The Kareem was good. That was a good job. Good job. Okay. I hit you back.
We can't hear you too well, Roddy, with the basketball.
I'm sorry, I was talking to Dugar. He got that stuff, so I didn't want to catch it.
What's up, Rodney Perry?
I told Dugar, I said, man, whatever you do when you're going with them guys, man, just don't mention the great LeBron James. And you should be fine. I knew you guys would take the bait. Y'all didn't even hear the man. He said Kareem Green.
Kareem Green.
He said, who do you think the best of all time? He said Kareem Green. Y'all like, oh yeah, that's my guy.
He made a mistake.
He didn't say Kareem Green, man.
He slipped up the second time around. He did.
Well, let's look at that. Let's look at that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Let's look at that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see who we jumped over to get to him. Bill Russell. I mean, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar ain't even the best big man of all time.
Whoa.
Oh!
Y'all saying Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the best big man of all time?
Yeah.
Not Bill Russell?
No.
Not Wilt Chamberlain?
Not David Robinson?
No.
Not Shaquille O'Neal?
No.
Of all time?
Of all time?
No.
Hakeem the Dream of Life won?
No. Not even close.
Y'all can't be serious.
They had to change the rules for Kareem.
You got Kareem ahead of Bill Russell?
Yeah. Kareem is the number one big man of all time.
Somebody wants to respond to that. Somebody want to respond to that.
Hey, check this out. Kareem couldn't be beat on the high school level, which you East Coast brothers know.
Yep.
Couldn't be beat on the collegiate level.
This brother's real.
And he won the championships on the NBA level. They had to change the game. He had to invent a skyhook because they wouldn't let him dunk. This brother has won on every level of the game, whereas LeBron.
No, we're not talking about LeBron. We're talking about the best big man of all time.
No. We didn't say the best big man of all time. We said the greatest of all time.
No.
It doesn't matter what position.
Oh, hold on.
What Kareem has done on every level, he has won. What Bill Russell, an Oakland brother, has done, he played against 8 teams in the league. He played against white cats that had a 7-inch vertical. I'm not taking anything away from that era of what Bill Russell did.
You just shit on the era.
Bill Russell in today's game, you dominate.
You pull your pants down and you shit on the whole era, dude.
No, Rodney, listen. What Kareem did, he could dominate any era. What Bill Russell did, he would have issues with a Dennis Rodman or a Draymond Green.
Yep.
Are we done?
I mean, it doesn't matter if we done, bro. I'm just keeping it real. You can't hoop.
No.
I'm a former hooper. I know this game. I coach this game.
Okay.
You looking at accolades. I'm looking at the eye test.
Okay. I'm saying that you need to get Frank's glasses because your eyes are wrong.
This dude had to create a sky hook.
Let me put on
into this.
A 17-foot elbow sky hook that was better than most cats' jumpers.
It is unstoppable.
Okay. So we can put Kareem in as best sky hook.
No, we could put Kareem as the GOAT.
The GOAT of what? Nobody put Kareem as the GOAT. Kareem is not the best. No, listen to me. Yes. I listen. So it's my turn.
Okay.
Kareem is not. He is. First of all, how you gonna be the GOAT and you're not the best at your position?
Would you take Shaq or Kareem?
He's not the best at his position.
Take Shaq or Kareem?
I'm not changing. I'm making a point. My point is this.
Shaq or Kareem?
My point is this. It's easy to look it up. Google it. The top 10.
Talking about Googling. Stats can be false.
Let me interject. Let me interject right now because we were talking about, first of all, we were talking about two things. We were talking about the best of all time, and then Rodney came on with his I Disagree segment and threw it out there talking about the best big man. So that's two different conversations. So, Daniel now is throwing it out there saying, comparing one big man to the other big man. So which way you all want to go with this conversation? We can talk about.
I'm saying Kareem is not the best. There's no way Kareem is the GOAT because he's not the best at his position.
Who's the best big man? Who's the best big man?
Will Chamberlain. Bill Russell.
Okay. You know what, Daniel? I'm going to say this. Everybody has their own opinion. You know what I mean?
I respect Rodney's opinion. I just don't agree.
Yeah, exactly. We all have our own opinion.
I do too. You look at Kareem. Listen, if you look at Kareem.
Let's be clear. So we're saying, and we can leave it to the audience. We're saying that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Lou Alcindor is better than Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Hakeem the Dream, David Robinson. Are you crazy?
No. Yes, he is.
Well, can I just say one thing? Can I just say one thing, Rodney? You should even have David Robinson in that conversation. Like Why not?
David Robinson ball though.
Why not?
It's great.
Why not?
It's great. David Robinson was stopped several times. David Robinson was not an unstoppable force in the NBA. He played many years.
There's only five centers that just should be in this argument.
You're right.
The Chamberlain, the Russell, the Kareem, the Olajuwon, and the Shaq.
Yes.
Outside of that, you shouldn't be mentioning any other centers.
David Robinson should be in this conversation.
I mentioned what I want to mention.
And Wilt Chamberlain played in that same era where you only
I thought Will Purdue in the motherfucking mix.
Hey man, I feel you, Rodney. I feel you. But Kareem is the best center of all time.
Kareem Green?
Kareem Green, no, definitely. No, brother.
He's the best of all time.
Abdul-Jabbar.
We can agree to disagree.
All right,
Let me just say this. If you look at the stats, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has better stats than every player that you named, and his stats is better than Jordan too.
Yeah, but we weren't doing by stats. We were doing by eye test.
No, first of all, no. I didn't say that.
Championships.
You don't have better stats than Will Chamberlain.
Yes, he does.
Who does?
Kareem is the #1 scorer in the NBA history.
Mm-hmm.
#1. And guess what? He never shot a 3-pointer.
Yeah.
Rodney, that facial expression is telling me either you constipated or
I'm looking it up. Because I'm looking up if Big will make up a stat.
Google Will Purdue. #1.
Kareem.
And #2 is Paul Malone.
Can we agree to this? That Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the most overlooked NBA All-Star of all time. Can we agree to that?
Absolutely.
Can we agree to that? Because people don't even have this conversation and mention Kareem's name. So when Daniel came on board and said
nobody believes it.
Only because the only reason he don't jump in this conversation, let's keep it real. Daniel mentioned a word that always pops up, generational.
Right.
Kareem is way removed from the generation. So when the argument comes up right now, if you're not talking to an OG, you're not going to hear Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Well, how about this?
Kareem,
I'm an OG. Kareem got his ass whooped by Bruce Lee.
But listen, Kareem was playing in the days of the NBA when it wasn't even televised on regular TV at the right time, and the height of his career. When at the height of Kareem's career, the NBA was on tape delay. So there's a lot of people who don't even really know of anything about how Kareem goes. That's just the way it is.
Kareem won he won a championship on every team that he ever played on.
Yeah,
undefeated in college.
He won a championship.
Undefeated in college.
Yeah,
undefeated.
Rodney said he got his ass beat by Bruce.
He has 3 NCAA titles, and the only reason he don't have 4 is because John Wooden didn't play freshman.
Hold on, guys. We're talking about the NBA. Everybody in the NBA was the shit in high school. Everybody.
We didn't say high school. We talking about college.
No, not everybody. Not everybody.
The worst NBA nigga was dope as fuck. The worst.
Not really, because the greatest.
They better than you. Any regular nigga is horrible compared to the worst NBA nigga. So what I'm saying is everybody in the NBA is good. Everybody is good. So if we go back and trace the elite NBA players, they was all great in high school. They was all great in college. If they went to college, how about you bypass college altogether? So they're all good on those lower levels. Heaven forbid if they fucking 6'10", 6'11".
Listen. Look at the stats on Kareem. See, just look up who's the number 1 scorer in NBA history.
Yeah, we did. We got that part. And let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Rodney. Since we interrupted your "I disagree" segment, is there anything else that you think that we said that was out of line during the show before we finished wrapping up the show? Was there anything else?
You know, y'all always got a plethora of things.
Yeah, that's why I gave you the ball. I throw it in there.
I mean, there's any number of stuff, but I'm into this. Hopkins, this whole DeShaun Watson thing, man. Look, he got to get the hell out of Houston. First of all,
yeah.
I mean, you sign the boy, and then you get rid of the one guy he could throw to make a difference. How do you expect him to stay? He got to go. Now, where he end up, nobody knows. I think you said it was 25 teams. It's not 25 teams he can land on. It's only about 14.
No, I said there's 25 teams that want him. There's only 3 or 4 teams that could get him.
Exactly.
There's 25 teams that want him. Right.
Big shouts out to Candace Parker. She's coming to Chicago. We would love to have her in that Chicago uniform. 13 years in the game. And how about this? She's still good looking.
Boy, she's fine. She's fine.
I know y'all ain't gonna say it because I know Tyler friends with a lot of these young ladies. But they be not cute. As one not cute person to another, I feel like I can say that. And so Candace is a beautiful young lady, 6 feet 7 inches tall. Man, if my wife wouldn't let me do it, I would see if me and Candace could have a baby, man. Turn my gene pool around.
That'll be a hell of a turn.
You gonna look at a Rodney Perry with charisma at 6'7"?
Well, since we talking about the
Bangs, oh my God!
Since we talk about
the NBA,
Since we talk about the NBA, let me throw this out there to you, Rodney Perry, because the way the Lakers lost last night to the Sixers, which that couple second shot and everything else. Do you think the Sixers are for real? Do you think the Sixers can come out the East right now and be an NBA in the NBA Finals right now, the way Doc has them playing?
I mean, first of all, calm down. Coming out the East don't have nothing to do with Lakers. Coming out to the East had everything to do with them Nets. You better worry about them Nets and that big three, and then you can get to the big dog.
Well, Rodney, I'm gonna throw it out there.
You don't even get to talk about the big dog.
Sixers are playing better.
That was a great game last night, but they almost blew it.
The Sixers statistically are playing better than the Nets are right now. They are, whether you want to deny it or not, they are the best team in the East. They are right now. They are the best coached right now in the East, and defensively, they are holding their opponent down to one of the lowest scoring points right now. So that's statistically speaking. Now,
I hear what you're saying.
The eye test looks good. The Nets do look good, but the Sixers look good too. And I'm not even a Sixers fan, but the Sixers look real good.
We're less than 20 games into the season, so we can't. How many?
We're less than 30 games into the season. We're at the halfway point, right? Almost right now.
We're literally
talking about the NBA All-Star game right around.
It's like 16, 17 games, I thought.
No, it's more. It depends on who the team you're asking, because some teams are at that point, like Washington.
So I'm not losing my fucking mind.
No, I'm just saying. Some teams have played more than others because of COVID. That's all I'm saying.
Understood.
Yeah.
So we're less than halfway through the season.
Yeah,
we can agree.
Yeah.
And so I just hesitate to make any sweeping judgment. But how about this? They were good early last year. So was Milwaukee, right? So was the Clippers.
All right, I will say this. I will say this.
Everybody was good. They was good last year. They was all good early. Everybody good early.
Rodney Perry, the Sixers are better now than they have been in years, bro. They weren't this good last year. Statistically speaking, they weren't this point last year. They were not leading the East. The Bucks were. Defensively, they weren't doing it. They were doing. The Bucks were. Right now, the Sixers are the best in the East. That's why I asked.
Why are you guys ignoring the Celtics? I think them young dogs is gonna make a run later on, and I don't like the Celtics at all.
Listen, I'm a Celtics fan, but I watched the Celtics play last night. They looked horrible, bro. Against San Antonio, they look horrible. So overall, with the eye test, I looked at the Sixers game and I looked at the Celtics game, and I'm saying overall, right now, at this moment, right now, as we speak, right this second, the Sixers are the best team in the East. It's just that.
You're absolutely them damn leprechauns ain't doing nothing. Right?
And honestly, I don't think.
But you know what? Now, remember we was talking about the Lakers yesterday and how they beat up on Cleveland, and I was like, what did I say? I say, I want to see how they do. We were talking about last night. I said, I want to see how they do against the Sixers. I want to see, when we talk about the Lakers, which are, listen, let's give it to them. They're the defending champs. I want to see how they play against teams who are contending or said to be contending for the title, and the Sixers were one of them teams.
Yeah,
and
you're absolutely right. The Celtics problem right now,
they lost the game, but they didn't look bad at all.
The Celtics problem is the coach.
He had not looked bad at all.
The Celtics had 10 players and swapped in and out off the bench before the first quarter was halfway over. I'm a Celtics fan. I am the first person. I will tell you right now, we need to fire Brad Stevens as head coach, because I don't think he's as great as they're all cracked up to be. That's just my opinion. But we can have this other conversation later. But
the question is, before you go, Frank, the question is will the Sixers come out of the East? That's what you're saying?
That's the question. And as we stand right this second, the Sixers can. Right now, as we stand.
There are 4 teams that could come out of the East. The Sixers are one, the Nets, Boston, and Milwaukee. Those are the 4 teams that could possibly come out of the East.
And you know what? Right now, to all the teams you just mentioned, the Sixers are the best right now. Not to say that they will. I'm just saying right now, at this moment, they are the best. Anyway, that's the show. Daniel, since you're still on the show, you came back in. Can you tell everybody out there how they can follow you?
Yeah, hey man, how come y'all don't do 2 hours, man? Cause y'all be dialed in, man. Shit go by too fast, man. Y'all need 2 hours, cause y'all all got great insight, man. An hour ain't shit, Frank.
Hey, Daniel, if it was three of me, it'd be easily a 2-hour show. But I'm working with all married men. You know they can't do no damn 2 hours.
I'm just saying,
Grown ass man.
Daniel, I got one first trying to produce an hour.
Hey, first of all, talent, I do what I want to do around it, huh? I'm sorry I was too loud.
That's what everybody's in their individual basements or corners right now.
Hey, I'm in the bedroom. But no,
Yeah,
Frank, they can find me at Dugar, DUGAR 007 on IG.
Thank you, bro, for joining the show. We appreciate you. Rodney Perry, bro. Tell everybody else how to follow you.
I'm RodneyPerry.com. It's a website. Rodney Perry Live on all social media. I'm building the YouTube. Appreciate y'all for the follows. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Talent. Tell everybody out there they can follow you, bro.
3 words to the Laker fans like Rodney Perry. Down goes Frazier. And keep in mind, I'm the only one on box seats in the house when we do this live show that can do this. Bitch, shut up. It's just comedy.
No, we can say it. We just won't say it loud. It won't go outside the room. Big, everybody got that can follow you.
You can follow your boy at Comedian Figure on social media platforms. You can't find me there. I'm always on the box seats, Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. The best sports show on TV. You better ask everybody.
I want to thank comedian extraordinaire Daniel Dugar for joining the show today. Daniel, thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you for joining the show. I want to thank Rodney Perry for his I Disagree segment because Rodney, he got his I Disagree segment all jacked up today, especially too. I want to thank him. I want to thank Talent for joining the show. I want to thank Fig for joining the show. This is a show called The Box Seats. We're on every Monday through Friday from 1 to 2. We're also on the Humor Mill channel. If you want, you can download the app and tell a friend to tell a friend. But tune in tomorrow because we might even have another surprise guest tomorrow. It's Friday. We got to talk more about this DeShaun Watson situation because it's unfolding more and more. We're going to continue on with the conversation with the NFL and see what's going on with that. And there are other things to talk about also. We're going to talk about all that. Anyway, thanks for joining the show. We'll see y'all this weekend. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Take care.